Thank you for looking in on A-level economics. Hopefully this short video will help you make a decision about whether economics is for you. So why study economics? Well, economics is great for looking at the way in which the world works. We start off by looking at resources, how they're distributed, and we learn about things like the macroeconomy, current affairs, and a range of issues. And here you can see some reasons why some A-level students suggest that you study economics. It really makes you think differently. And we often look at articles and think like economists. Is economics for me? Well, yes, economics is for you, it's for everybody, but particularly if you enjoy debating economic issues such as inequality, immigration, and how we should pay for healthcare. And these have been big topics of late. Coronavirus has put an emphasis on healthcare, the NHS, and how we should pay for that. And also about immigration as well, because a lot of our carers in the care system come from abroad. So it's a big issue. Using and interpreting data. If you enjoy using and interpreting data, then economics is for you. You don't have to be a mathematical genius, but you do have to be confident. Discussing alternative courses of action. For example, should we have had the furlough scheme? Should people really have been paid 80% of their salary whilst not at work? Why was that a decision that was made? What was the impact on the economy? Was there an alternative that we could have put in place? And then we keep up to date with national and international trends. And so obviously at this point in time, we're seeing a downward spiral, a downward trend in economic growth, in exports, imports, and particularly impacted, of course, international travel and tourism. And so we'll be seeing what happens as a result of the impact of coronavirus. Do you need GCSE economics? In a word, no. You don't need GCSE economics. In fact, many students haven't studied economics before they come to QE. A lot of schools don't even offer GCSE economics. But if you have studied GCSE economics and enjoyed it, then you'll enjoy the A-level. Economics does involve working with numbers, and you do require a good grade in GCSE maths. You need the mathematical ability to be able to calculate, but to be able to understand concepts and to be able to interpret graphs. You may have come across some economics in history, particularly with the hyperinflation in Germany, and you might have come across economics or parts of it in citizenship, where you might have learnt about unemployment, inflation and taxes. But you won't have learned economics as an economist. So what will I learn? In Theme 1, you will learn about how markets work and what happens when they don't work well. So here I've illustrated a couple of the diagrams that we would use in Theme 1, and these are certainly very straightforward, simple diagrams, and they do get a lot more complicated. In the first diagram on the left, we have a simple market working efficiently. Here you can see demand, and demand is showing that as the price falls, the demand increases. We all like a bargain, and if the price is going down, we'll buy more. And the supply is showing that as price increases, supply increases. Firms profit maximise. These are some of the assumptions that we make. And so there becomes a point where supply equals demand at a given price and quantity, and the market works efficiently. So as you can see, the diagram on the right shows a market that isn't working efficiently. In fact, at P2, you can see that there's excess demand. The price is too low, too many people can afford it, and so therefore market forces come into play, as illustrated by the red arrows. Suppliers recognise that there's excess demand and can sell at a higher price, and eventually a price is reached, in this case P1, where all the quantity that can be supplied at that price is demanded and market equilibrium is reached. The diagrams do become a little bit more complicated in Theme 1, but that gives you a little insight into what microeconomics might look like and we're studying it. Then go on to look at theme 2 in our first year, which is really learning about how the whole economy works. Now here I've illustrated the boom and bust cycle, which you may have seen. And this is a cycle that shows an economic boom and then a downturn, but actually is showing long run growth rate. And so the macroeconomics is all about understanding, well, what creates this boom? What creates this ability to produce more at certain times and then have this downturn? Now, of course, we're going to be in an economic downturn at the moment because of the impact of coronavirus. Lots of businesses haven't been working, haven't been opening, and there's a huge impact on our economy. So we're certainly in an economic downturn. How long will it last? And how long will the economic recovery take place? What policies can government put into place to try and improve the economy? If you'd like to have a go at running an economy and seeing how you can make an economy work, then do participate in the government game, which is also released today or this week through Bridging. See if you can pick the correct policies and make the right decisions to ensure that not only your economy improves, but you get voted in the next election. So that's our first year. Microeconomics, looking at how markets work, macroeconomics, looking at how an economy works. And we take those two core themes forward in second year and we look into theme 3, which is a microeconomic concept of how businesses compete and set prices, how the jobs market works and how competition is encouraged. And in front of you, you've got a diagram here for a pure economic model of monopoly. And here we're looking at a cost revenue diagram. Now it looks quite complicated, there are lots of lines on there and we haven't even put the shifts in. But what we can see here is actually it's an extension of the simple supply and demand diagram that we saw in theme 1. Supply is represented by marginal cost and demand is represented by average revenue. So actually you can see the market equilibrium. What point is that? It would appear that the market equilibrium, the allocative efficient point, is B. And you'd be correct. However, in this case, our monopoly produces at quantity Q1 and not market efficiency. And so we delve into why is it that the monopoly produces at Q1 that still manages to charge P1 and make a profit. What's that pink triangle doing in the middle? What is triangle ABC? In fact, triangle ABC is what we would call a welfare loss to society. So theme 3, although it says looking at how businesses compete, looks at the structure, the market structure of businesses and how that market structure impacts on costs and revenues. Great topic area. And finally, in year 2, we look at theme 4. And this is the macroeconomics on a global scale. So we look at globalisation, international trade, why we trade, how economies develop. We look at financial markets and public finances as well. And again, we use diagrams. You will use the diagrams from theme 2, but there are some new ones along the way. And here we have a J curve. I think it doesn't look like a J, but we call it a J curve. And this J curve is a J curve analysis of the balance of payments. And this is as a result of a devaluation in currency. That means a fall in the value of, for example, pound sterling against all other world currencies. And we saw this straight after the 2016 Brexit vote. Our currency devalued, and initially that had a major impact on our balance of payments. We were paying more for foreign goods, so our balance of payments got worse. And you can see from the red arrow how the deficit on the balance of payments started to go down. But as the rest of the world realised that they could buy pounds more cheaply, and therefore British goods more cheaply, we did actually start to see an improvement in our current account balance. And so you start to see that as you move up the J, the deficit becomes less. Now that's only one very small aspect of theme 4, but it highlights the types of diagrams and the types of issues that we look at through economics. In economics, you're assessed with 3 exam papers, and paper 1 is the micro, theme 1 and 3. Paper 2 is the macroeconomy, themes 2 and 4. And finally, paper 3 puts all the information together. But you're well practiced for these exams. We mark, assess to exam standard throughout the course. So what can you do next? Well, economics prepares you for progression to further study or the world of work. You clearly will develop data handling and writing skills which are transferable to both university and employment. You might want to study a degree in economics, business economics, econometrics. Economics goes with a lot of different subjects, so there's a wide range of degrees available. You might progress to a career in industry, commerce, in finance or the civil service, and indeed now there are more and more degree apprenticeships around economics as well. So how can you find out more? You can find out more by applying to QE and accessing our transition sites. There's a wealth of information on the QE transition sites, but you need to be a QE applicant to see that. Visit the Edexcel website to find out more about AS and A-level economics. Just look for the squirrels because there are several different economics courses, so that's why the squirrels are there to help you locate that. Search online for economics courses at universities to find out more about where an A-level in economics can take you, and find out what's happening in the world economy by watching relevant news programmes and reading business news particularly. Or you can find out more, or if you've got any questions, join our live Q&A session in Bridging Week, or email lfarnell@qelis.ac.uk, subject leader for economics, for any other questions that you may have or things that you really want to find out. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope we see you in September to enjoy more economics.